Here's one that's surely going to be controversial. The Beatles are going to be releasing a new song, and it isn't just a song from the archives that they've been sitting on. It's going to be released with the assistance of artificial intelligence. Now, the entire song is not generated by AI, but they are using AI to assist them in releasing this music. And I'd encourage you to listen to this with an open mind, and then let me know by the end of the video in the comments whether or not you think this is acceptable for a band to use this kind of technology to release their music. And I just want to say, to be clear, they are not generating anything out of thin air to make this music. The song itself and the parts are still originals, but they are using AI to remove some of the background instruments that were used originally when the song was created, and I guess they built new music around it. But this is what Paul McCartney had to say about that in a new interview with BBC Radio today to promote his new book. This is going to be a big deal anytime you have a new release, new from the Beatles. It's going to be a big deal, but there's already a lot of people kind of scratching their heads about this, and I'd love to hear what you think. Here's more. Before we continue, if you're new to Rock Feed and you love rock music, we do daily breaking news and updates about your favorite musicians, so consider hitting that subscribe button for the latest news and updates. Paul McCartney spoke to BBC Radio earlier today and detailed an unnamed Beatles track that will be released that was built out from a John Lennon demo tape, but it uses artificial intelligence to complete that task, which of course is highly controversial in the world of music. To be clear, the music isn't AI generated, but you can think of it in terms of it being AI assisted, because to make things as simple as possible, they used AI technology to separate John Lennon's voice from the instrumentals in the background on the demo. And with his clean voice, they put that on top of instrumentals that they recreated in the studio at a later time. At least that's my understanding. Paul McCartney told BBC Radio, "When we came to make what would be the last Beatles record, it was a demo that John had that we worked on. We were able to take John's voice and get it pure through this AI so that we could mix this record as we would normally do. It gives you some sort of leeway. So there's a good side to it and then a scary side, and we'll just have to see where that leads." The Beatles released a documentary called Get Back in 2021. And Paul McCartney said director Peter Jackson showed him how AI could be used to enhance audio. He said, "He was able to extricate John's voice from a ropey little bit of cassette. It had John's voice and a piano. He could separate them with AI. They could tell the machine, that's a voice, this is a guitar, lose the guitar, and he did that. So it has great uses." This is not the first time the Beatles have retroactively released music following the passing of John Lennon. In 1994, McCartney, Ringo Starr, and George Harrison worked on two other incomplete John Lennon songs called Free as a Bird and Real Love. But neither of those songs were generated using artificial intelligence. And of course, with the rapid increase of artificial intelligence tools being released on a daily basis, there are a number of ways that AI could be used in a manner that fans probably wouldn't like. Imagine someone building a model of a late vocalist's voice and using that to create new music. There are already numerous examples of models being built of musicians' voices to make remixes of songs. An account on TikTok went viral called Kanye Western, which involved Kanye West's voice, an artificial intelligence model of it, singing popular country hits. It begs the question whether in the future a band could use this AI technology to create new music with a vocalist who has passed on. In this case, it sounds like the technology was used to clean up the voice that was actually really recorded. But the day will come, and it will come sooner rather than later, when AI tools are used to generate music from scratch, and it'll probably sound pretty good. Whether or not the audience will tolerate it is another story. And so I bring the question to you, would you want to listen to AI-generated music? This is a real thing. I'm telling you, the tools that are available that are going to be put into hands of millions and millions of people can recreate artists' voices indistinguishable from their original voices. And it's really creepy and strange. Maybe there are some good use cases. In the case of this Beatles track, personally, I don't have a problem with him using AI to separate his voice from guitars in the background. really, you could do that in some ways using really good equalization techniques now, but AI is probably going to do that in a very perfect way. So it's still John Lennon's voice, it's just enhanced using AI. They're not creating anything out of thin air. But I do want to know what you all think in the comments about this. I know this is going to be very controversial, and understandably so, because this AI stuff, I do embrace AI. I think it needs to be regulated, but I'm not necessarily in favor of generating a musician's voice from scratch who's no longer with us and using that to release new music. I don't think you can really say whether or not the musician that's no longer with us would approve of that. So, but in this case of this Beatles song, if they're just using it to clean up the audio, which is what they're saying, and I do believe that, and even Paul McCartney is speaking transparently about that. He's saying, in this case, it's kind of one thing, but there's also scary cases, which, we're talking about here. So let me know in the comments down below. Very interesting stuff. And also, don't forget to subscribe and notifications on. You can also join the conversation over on Instagram. I'll see you soon.